Timothy Ryback, thank you so much for taking time to speak with DW.
Happy to be here.
There's a huge debate here in the United States whether it is correct to call Donald Trump or compare Donald Trump with Adolf Hitler. What do you say to that?
I think there are fascistic postures, but I don't know if I would go as far to identify someone specifically as a fascist. The single most, to my mind, similar identifier is an absolute blindness to any kind of defeat, anything that doesn't fit into your worldview. Adolf Hitler was astonishing. He went from one catastrophe to another, from one defeat to another. He ran in the presidential election of 1932. He lost by 6 million votes. And you know what he did? He claimed election fraud, and he went to court to have the election results overturned.
What else do you see in him with a fascist tendency?
Trump did say he would be dictator for one day on day one. And he identifies that as a modality for governance and rule, which we've known for millennia. The authoritarian rulers. And, Hitler definitely embraced that. And I think Trump's embrace of that authoritarian rule, the vengeance, all of that is the most unsettling part of it. But I think this inherent view that democratic processes are not the best way to run a country is certainly, unquestionably, a key fascistic trait. Hitler himself declared that he vowed to destroy democracy through democratic process. He had to appear in court as a witness at a trial in September 1930, and Hitler basically said this to the judge, that he was out to destroy democracy through democratic process. The judge said so, but through constitutional processes. Hitler gave a one-word answer: jawohl.
This is one of the biggest fears with the Trump administration, that he really will undermine the democratic structure here in the United States.
I personally am concerned. We do have guardrails. I've studied, as have many scholars, the guardrails that existed for the Weimar Republic. But it's how these constitutional protections can be protected, how resilient they can be against a determined autocrat. What I will remind you is that Adolf Hitler came to power in 1933. Joseph Goebbels said, once we're in office, he said, they're going to have to drag us out as corpses. And in April of 1945, that's exactly what happened. It was the only way they ended that government. So I think for the U.S. Constitution, for all the protections that are there, it's only as strong, it's only as resilient as the people who are there to protect it.
The Weimar Republic wasn't that old compared to the United States. Is the United States better equipped to fight attacks and to be overturned as the Weimar Republic has been?
Peter Gay, who once said, the Weimar Republic died twice. It was murdered and it committed suicide. We all know who committed the murder. That was clear. But the state suicide by a constitutional democracy is a much more complicated process. And there it really comes down to the electorate, to the voters. And if there's anything, look, we live in a country protected by First Amendment rights, freedom of speech. Donald Trump has the right to say, within limits, anything that he wishes, as appalling as it might be to me. What I don't understand is that 50% of the Americans, or close to 50%, possibly 51%, we'll see, are willing to embrace this. This is going back to the Hitler-Trump comparison. They laid out their agenda for everyone to see. Adolf Hitler was one of the few politicians who kept his campaign promises to a horrific degree. Let's hope that Mr. Trump doesn't keep all of his campaign promises, and we don't see the guillotine being rolled out if he wins.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much,
Have
Ines.
a good time,
Good
and let's
talking.